Oh, and I laughed. Do it again.
Hi, I'm Professor LovelyLocs and welcome to the LovelyLocs Learning Lab. I appreciate all of you showing up right on time. Today we're going to get right into our lesson. Here's our topic for today. Hair grows here. And we'll be discussing hair follicles and how they differ in different groups of people. We'll look at Asians, Caucasians, and Africans. What you see here today, class, is a small section of the scalp that has been cut out to show you exactly the structure of a hair follicle. Well, a hair follicle is a tiny cavity in the scalp or a sac that holds hair, and that's where hair begins, right down here at the root, where all of the cells begin to formulate your hair. And down here at the base, that's where it is determined exactly what type of hair will grow in this hair follicle. So here we see on the side, we see the hair sebaceous gland. That's where the oil is accumulated. This is here the follicle, and then we have sebum, more oil, and the surface of your skin, and then this actually shooting out, these are the hair strands. Along with that, if you take a closer look over here, we have a cross-sectional close-up look of the hair, and it has a structure that includes the medulla, which is in the center, and then we have the cortex, and these little specks are the color that fills the hair, and then we have the outer layer, which is made up of the cuticle scale. The scale and the cuticle, that's what you hear people talking about when you dye your hair. This cuticle layer lifts, and then the change takes place right in the cortex that allows the color to penetrate and change. And when this lifts, the pH balance of your hair changes. So we'll come back to that subject. Down here below, we see another section of the hair cut in half, and you'll see different areas the hair is made up of. Different areas. So our hair grows right from the hair follicles. When we think about hair follicles, again, it's that little sac that forms the base of your hair strand. Asians' hair, actually, they have the thickest strands. Their hair tends to be very coarse, and they actually have a low density. When you look at the number of strands per square inch, they average on the entire head having about 90,000 to 120,000 hair follicles. Now, thinking about Caucasians and their hair type, they have a variety of hair types. Interestingly enough, the density varies depending upon the color of the hair. Having brown hair, you may have a medium density. Having blonde hair, you tend to have a thicker, higher density. Their hair strands tend to be thinner, and their follicle tends to be either circular or oval. On average, they range from 100,000 strands to 150,000 strands. Looking at African hair types, what we see is it gets a little complicated over here in this group. Our hair tends to be fragile on the outside, but it has a specialized strength. When you look at the cortex in the center of our hair, it tends to be stronger. So this is a little bit complicated to explain, but our hair tends to be tightly coiled. Our follicle tends to be shaped either elliptical or flat, and yet with our specialized hair structure. So what I mean by that is you may have some flaking and deterioration with the cuticle, the scale part of our hair. But when we look at the core, what's happening, the hair on the inside tends to be stronger than those of these other groups. Thinking about this particular hair type, notice I didn't quantify because there could be a great variation in the number of hairs per square inch as well. But what I really would like to focus on is the fact that this hair type, being as it is, needs specialized moisturizers, specialized shampoos and conditioners to keep them from breaking. These hair types and hair follicles, they tend to like products that are natural, non-drying, no sulfates, no sodium lauryl sulfates and chlorides and so forth. So again, African Americans' hair type, we produce a lot of oils. The challenge is getting those oils to go all the way to the end of that coily hair structure. So many times we have to supplement the oils. We make them, but they don't extend from the scalp area all the way to the tips of our hair. So there's the challenge. So if you are of African descent, you want to make sure you apply those heavy creams and conditioners that help to keep that hair moisturized and keep it on your scalp, on your head, and not breaking and flaking and so forth. So again, how does our hair grow? Well, it all begins in the hair follicle. And again, that hair follicle is a specialized sac where the cells begin to formulate. It's sort of like a master plan taking place at the base of your scalp in there, and the hair is growing from that sac on out, and everything is determined, your genetics, what your hair will be like based on the hair follicle. That is the root, that is where it all begins. So I hope that you've learned something about the structure of the hair and how it grows and how each one of us is definitely unique, and we must provide products that are specialized just for us. Thank you for joining me at the LovelyLocs Learning Lab. Like, subscribe, and share. Bye-bye.